In a world based on judgment, can there be a place without right and wrong? So much authoritative text exists about the right way of doing things, the right way of living. Where is that love that comes out of wisdom and doesn't dictate the path but walks the path with you? That love and its expression, which is open, a wonder at everything that life is and can be. Something written, read like a children's story of wonderland, yet it doesn't shy away from any topic, saying it is too complicated. Two lives walking together, talking, observing, interacting, sharing, without any fear or boundary. It feels like some romantic imagination, right? In reality, it is just being honest and sharing without fear. It is not a compilation of soft, hollow words to soothe one into sleep, to motivate one to achieve so-called success, or to ease the pain by providing a temporary crutch, but rather any word, whether hard or soft, written with an open mind. How do we get out of the maze of the mind? How do I condition the mind to get what I want? How do I control the mind and become the most genius person? All one gets from others are questions based on expectations of what the answer should be. People conditioned into thinking that there are only limited ways to live. It feels like life is drained out, like something mechanical, just playing out roles that are so rigid. The meaning of life in our present times is so lifeless, so rigid, closed, mechanical, repetitive, forceful. Love is lost in the lanes of greed and desires. People move with rigid boxes of iron around them, rubbing against what is open and loving, making openness hard, where even a doubt in oneself is seen and felt as a weakness. But the other choice is to be closed, narrow-minded and self-focused, an existence devoid of any real exploration of life, limited and bounded. Will you show some courage in truly exploring what life can be? Or will you just choose from the 5, 10 or 100 options given to you? If you are truly ready to explore with an open mind, then these words will start to loop around your mind, just like air loops around your body. One wants to get lost. The roads are too clear. The mind questioning its own limits. Limits of oneself, of intellect, of emotions, of imagination, of thinking, of perception. The mind solving a problem it has created and feeling happy about it. Let us get lost in the wilderness. Simplicity is a cage, a bird sitting in the cage it built, now afraid to fly. What ifs, the mind cries, living every possibility in thought until its energy drains away, watching from the cage window, waiting for someone to free it from itself. But there is nobody else. It is just a bird, sitting in a cage, in nothingness. The cage, the nothingness, everything exists only in the mind. Is there more? One asks, but not truly, not from the depths of existence, not with the intent to let go of the self, but only to build upon it, to add another fascinating achievement to the portfolio, another rare jewel to the collection. This more is just more of the same money, more of the same sex, more of the same power. It doesn't actually mean more. What actually will be more? Something that can't be contained in words, something that isn't derived from what one already has, something original, new, not just another iteration of the same with different clothes. Are we truly grasping the depth of these words? Think again. Are we? If one is still reading, it means the meaning has been skipped. If the need to know more is real, one will not entertain oneself with romantic words. If the question is truly understood, deeply, completely, there will be no need to read or listen to anyone telling you the answer. It doesn't matter, words can't reach, but love can. Being can, and it is. Love, which is pure acceptance, where there is no conflict within one's parts, where everything moves together as one. And that is it. The realization that there are no parts. It is all one. Is thinking the issue? Or is it the desire to control thinking? One looks at oneself with the question, am I? What is this I that questions itself? Is I the issue, or is the question of whether I is the issue? Let's remove I. Not by questioning it, not by accepting it, just remove it. What is left is, I am mind, and mind is me. With this realization, one moves on the stairs, upwards or downwards. It doesn't matter. It is thinking, and I can't stop it. It is not thinking, and I can't move it. The base is the same. It is neither about thinking nor stopping thinking. It is about control over what happens when. Living is being. It is effortless, like light, which only knows to move straight. It is all a story, the story of a human. Time began when someone started counting. We exist as each other's proof. Can we know what was before time? By the very definition of time or space-time, one who exists within it cannot step outside to experience what was before. But if one goes deep into existence, into the untouched grass of being, where parts are not discriminated, where there is no conflict, no preference, where existence is realized as present, then one will understand that the question is not about knowing what is beyond the story, but about knowing the full story. Exploration without force is the true exploration of being. In that, there is no choice. Yet it is pure exploration, as there is no prediction. Everything is a surprise. Every moment lived completely. The water runs down, making its own path. What it is going to touch has never been touched by water before. Everything is happening for the first time, as it only knows what is. What is that a collection? Where is the starting point? What would you call a collection of memories happening without a starting point? That is the true story of a drop of water, a story with no beginning and no end, and that too is the story of a human. Round and round the mind moves. Why? And round it goes again. Every question sets it in motion, but it can only move in a circle. So where will it go? Back to the question. If the question stop, the movement will stop. But this stop is not a forced stop. It is simply not being there, as if it has vanished. How will it vanish? Are we observing this mind trying to reach there through questions? How else should I try? Where is the path? What is it? And round it goes again. Beauty doesn't lie in explanations. It doesn't lie in descriptions, through words, images, or videos. It lies in experience, and no experience can be captured. Experience is thought moving freely. It doesn't lie in preferences. A rainy day is beautiful, and a sunny day is beautiful. Is there a day that is not beautiful? Beauty is not static. It exists in its vulnerability, in its dynamism. It is beautiful because it is changing while also being. It is both is and becoming, happening simultaneously. A butterfly flaps its wings, and everything changes. A butterfly decides not to flap its wings, and everything changes too. Action, karma, does not lie in the physical. It lies in will. The physical is merely the manifestation of will in a form. Give me a piece. Give me a piece of this, that too, that also. Why do I still feel empty? Why? I have everything a human desires, everything a human can imagine. Yet, what is this question I have asked whose answer can't be bought? Tell me a book, a podcast, a lecture, a teacher, a place. Tell me to do something that doesn't make me feel empty. Looking at oneself so helpless, tears flow through the eyes. A bird takes off, but it carries an idea of the perfect tree it wants to land on. Every tree it sees is measured against the image in its mind. Nothing matches perfectly. The image was created with measurements. How could reality ever match it? So it keeps flying, chasing an illusion, driven by the shallow purpose of finding what it has imagined. Ego won't let it rest anywhere else. It can't stop now. Only death can end this struggle. What is life? It moves through you who is living. What is death? When the movement stops, it is death. But does movement ever truly stop? A water molecule travels through mountains, reaches the ocean. It is still moving, only its name has changed. What has ended is the story of one of its forms. What was moving is still moving. A flower bloomed, and everyone came to explain to each other what had happened. Someone started painting, someone wrote furiously, others arrived with their tools of measurement, the languages of science, spirituality, philosophy, art. Every tool is different, yet nobody actually sees the flower. Now factions have formed. Let us fight to the end over who is right. But how will we decide who is right? What if everybody is wrong? And does it even matter anymore what actually is truth? Someone sits near the flower, just being. Everything from inside to outside is conscious of everything one can be conscious of, watching the world playing within oneself. In reality, it is not like the world is playing in something. Rather, the play of what we call I with not I is your complete world. That is all one can realize. The explanation of anything other than this is futile. It is all a mystery, changing every second. No rules, no patterns, changing forms, moving within itself. Someone calls it God. Someone calls it the soul. Someone calls it life. Words, just words. Love is the answer, isn't it? The realization that everything I am is coming from outside. This humbleness is not I am humble or I have become humble. It is humble because there is no I, or the I has realized that it is completely derived from relationships with the world. Letting go is not a one-time process. As collecting from outside is part of being human, so letting go keeps happening along with collection. This movement is actually life, and this is realized again and again. Now it is the complete movement of thought. Let us try a different way. God is God because it is accepted by what is not God. Value in concepts is derived from its acceptance by the user of concepts, like currency, brands, diamonds, etc. If we understand this, then isn't the one accepting equally powerful? My story will not exist if nobody accepts it. The story is manifested in relationships. What one is actually the love accepted by others. We are all under the weight of our own stories, our own past. If you carry gold bricks on a trek, it doesn't matter if it is gold. What will matter is the weight. In the same way, the weight of a story is still weight. It doesn't matter if it is a billionaire story or a poor person's, if it is one named Indian, American, Chinese, if it is a winner story or a loser's. Whoever is reading this, don't you feel the boundaries, the limited possibilities, clay getting molded in fixed patterns? Even if we invent creative excuses or reasons for not letting go of our weight, we do feel the limitations at one time or another. But then the point gets lost in the imaginative scenarios the mind creates after realizing this. The weight is needed for survival. What other option is there? Is it possible to actually get rid of weight? It is better to manage the weight more efficiently than to try to get rid of it. Some even say, I like my weight even if it kills me. It never ends. The only end is to face it. What can or can't be done? The only way to answer this absolutely is to do it and find out. Honesty about the question to oneself will be the fuel of life. I keep doubt and questions with me, constantly realizing the difference between knowing and believing. This is the only honest way to live the story. What goes outside comes inside too. The hate and judgment sent out toward others will exist within oneself as well. In reality, there is no exchange. It is just aggressive vibrations. What happens when one is angry or hateful? Other than the mental story, which differs from person to person, it is simply a manifestation in the form of an intense release of energy. Love too follows the same principle. What goes out comes in. In truth, the concept of self-love is not about you. It is about how much love is given out. There is no difference between loving someone else and loving oneself. It is just love. It has no direction, just as anger has no direction. Do we realize that words themselves have no inherent effect beyond the utterance of a sound? Their meaning only exists within the limits accepted by the one hearing them. What is written here, its real meaning, exists only within the limits of the reader's acceptance. Can we now say, or have we understood, that the feeling of love is not directional? If the feeling is generated inside you by any means, it will exist, for yourself as well as for others. Will you let go of yourself just for a moment? For a second, don't try to hold on to anything that takes effort. Whether you are a teacher, leader, son, daughter, male, female, INFP, INTJ, introvert, extrovert, secular, Chinese, English, rich, poor, dog lover, cat lover, beautiful, ugly, feminist, racist, science believer, religion believer, a village person, a city person, mainstream, off-stream, whatever it is, all the labels attached to this infinite being of yours, this effort to control the infinite. Love is not a choice. It is melting away into the other. I love you means there can also be I don't love you or I hate you. But remove I and you. That is what love is. Love exists where there is no I and you, or where both exist without friction, like the dance of tree and light, like inhale and exhale. When it exists in harmony, then there is a sense in it, an order in it, and in order, there are no separations. Let us sit sometime when the boundaries of time are not so strict, when the fear is less, so we don't have to hide ourselves, when it is time to rest after running for so long. Let us shed the heavy armor we have gathered, like a man after a day of war, torn, bruised, tired. like a woman after a day of giving, caring for others, exhausted. The entire day, you have defeated unknown enemies, the struggle to keep the story going, to have it constantly verified by others. Let us sit with all that you really are and all that I really am. It is not the resume. It is not the appearance. It is not the data you and I know. How will we know if the other is holding a boundary without first removing our own? How will we understand your scars if we keep hiding them under shiny covers? See them for what they really are. Let us sit with everyone, the earth, the sun, the clouds, the stars, the trees, the birds, and humans. Let us all sit together, naked, without boundaries. As one plays with another the game of life, there is a middle ground. The middle ground is the overlap, a place of openness, of no conflict, where things are understood by hinting. It is the same place around a bonfire, where laughter sounds louder than music, where being me is effortless, where silence doesn't feel empty, where I is not imposing, neither on myself nor on the other. That is the place we need to be to truly have a conversation. Language is not learned just through grammar. The meaning lies in the stories. Mind and body together. It can happen in any way. The way of love, kindness, anger, hatred, silence, movement. It is any way that has reached its destination. Any way followed to its end. To reach the end of one is to reach the end of everything. We have all experienced it, yet it is not here because we have not accepted it. It is nonsense, it is intuition, a direction without a point. Thought grows like a tree. Don't let it grow, but it is thought's nature to grow. Now one is fighting against oneself, a tree trying not to be a tree, the sun trying not to be the sun. What burns can only burn, what flows can only flow. This inner conflict, the mind not accepting a part of itself, or you not accepting yourself as you are. This endless human struggle to force things, to accept only what can be understood. The problem is not that thought grows, but the attempt to control whether it grows, how it should grow, where it should grow. In the end, the absolute end, there will be just one question, not what is life, not what is mind. But who is asking all of these questions? Who am I? What is this I filled with questions? That is the final, the deepest place where logic can reach. I questioning I, mind questioning itself. This is the territory where words must be written with utmost care. For beyond this, one is alone. Who am I? Can someone else answer this for me? Who am I? Can only be answered by the one questioning it. The absolute understanding of this question is the answer, the realization of loneliness in the concept of I, the realization of limits, the realization that thought cannot reach it, that nothing done by the mind is helping. When the meaningless, the absolute meaningless is realized, there is nothing holding or constricting, no attachments. That is the moment of death. That is the moment of life. It is absolute silence, and it is all the sounds that can exist. It in itself is life. There is no method, no stair to climb anymore, only being absolutely present, realizing the stupidity or rather the childishness of the mind. Now we don't fight. If one wants, the other yields. If one moves right, the other moves right too. There is no conflict anymore. No two, only one. It is awareness of everything that is, The rain, the river, the snow, the sea, isn't it all water? The sound of raindrops is not actually the sound of rain. It is the dance between the raining surface and the rain. Two can dance in infinite ways, something manifesting in infinite forms, and the forms dance together, creating what is. Is cannot exist without forms, and forms cannot exist without is. Everything moves together. A day transforms into night, or a night transforms into day. Day and night exist within this transformation. Can one see this as something existing in two forms, day and night? Yes, we can. And this something is you in whom day and night manifest, you who holds the entire universe inside. The question is not outward, but inward. Understanding the universe means understanding you. All of you is entire humanity, as there is a commonality that extends outward, centered around I. The I is what it has collected, and there is no real choice in what is being collected. The effort to make it a choice is suffering. It is continuous, yet the best I can do is pixels. It is infinite, yet the best I can do is numbers. The boundaries of karma, making it good or bad, successful or a failure, useful or useless, all the weights hanging on that one action. But dharma is not the weight. It is the flow of karma when the weights are gone. It is not a fixed path, not something defined for one in isolation. Action here is not just physical. It includes everything, tangible and intangible. The mind is childish, stubborn, moody, a monkey that doesn't listen, doesn't talk, moves when it moves, stops when it stops. It needs attention, love and acceptance. Now it is what it is. The choice is clear. Keep fighting it or let it win. Let it be what it does, without judgment. Only love can reach where nothing else can. Only love can touch what is. Your defenses can only be put down from within. Any forceful attempt from outside will only create more defenses, not less. Will you let these words enter, or will you just treat them as ink on paper? We are not literally talking about words. All words, whether consciously or unconsciously, point in some direction. The words are open. You decide the direction. Love does not impose. It exists only in acceptance. Somebody wrote, and somebody is reading. If the words came out without friction and are accepted without friction, then this relationship is love. But we are not used to love. We are used to authority imposing perspectives, used to being told who we are and who we should be. So even love irritates us. It is easier to have predictable hate than vulnerable love. If you are reading with the expectation of finding answers to yourself from the outside, then, my love, it cannot be done. My way cannot be your way. An apple only knows how to be an apple. A mango must figure out for itself what it means to be a mango. There is deep loneliness in thinking. The sharp wires of logic cut deep, and the walls keep closing in, pressing against what flows. What has boundaries is by definition, lonely. Its very existence lies in isolation and separation. One plays card games with others, but it is not a play where everyone simply plays. It becomes a race, a comparison, me versus her, putting myself up and the other down. That is where the boundary is drawn. And boundaries are not just physical, walls, rooms, apartments, cities, countries, galaxies. They are also mental. Boundaries of what I can be and cannot be. We carry these mental walls with us, feeling lonely even in the midst of life. But has the boundary been defined from inside or outside? It is a continuous balance. I fear, and the boundary shrinks, and the world instantly occupies the space left open. I love, and it expands, and the world creates space for it. A cage is still a cage, no matter how big or beautiful, and any cage will ultimately render you lonely. When you try to catch the infinite, only two things can happen. You will either be consumed or you will be freed. It is the difference between laughing at yourself and laughing with yourself. When one laughs with, there is no I. It has become infinite. The limitations of self are our own efforts to isolate, to separate, to make things easier to understand. And when we understand, or at least feel we do, we gain a sense of superiority over what is understood. This is ownership, where something owns and something is owned. But infinity cannot be owned. What can own the clouds? What can own space? Yet we continue playing this game in our minds. This is mine, this is yours. My love, my house, my property, my music, my thoughts. Like a spider that discovered it could build a web to catch food, and in its arrogance and greed, wove webs everywhere, only to find itself trapped within its own creation. A dance of sound, a dance of light, a dance of space, and all of it together is the dance of the one observing. It is the dance of consciousness. What is conscious is that is the world, and that is the one observing the world. What can happen? How does one realize the limits of it? If you think with me, isn't that the entire quest? To realize the limits, to explore? The exploration of a single water droplet manifests as the sea, clouds, ice, snow, rivers, and lakes. And if we go deeper, even the water droplet itself is an exploration of something greater. This something, whose exploration is everything, is life. I accept the direction given by the other. Acceptance without doubt. If there is tightness, the direction is to move out. If there is emptiness, the direction is to expand. If there is too much sound, the direction is to be silent, to listen. Yet these are just romantic words. It is a thin line we must walk in execution. It requires tremendous sensitivity and then the courage to follow intuition. But if all of this is done through thinking, through logic, then it is just imitation. Natural vibration is the vibration that requires no effort to maintain. The vibration of becoming sits on top of the vibration of being. It is not natural and requires continuous energy. Even if energy is not the issue, the mind and body get tired, but we cannot let them rest. It is a race. So we squeeze every last drop until breakdown happens, through fever or depression, both natural ways of balancing. But we don't even allow ourselves time to reset naturally. Instead, we keep dancing, tired, expressionless, propped up by tea, coffee, weed, cigarettes, alcohol, pills, like something dancing at its own funeral. Love is doubt. The moment someone becomes certain, a boundary is created. Separation, isolation, and ultimately conflict. Identity itself depends on isolation, and this separation fuels division. But doubt doesn't sell products. It doesn't create followers, fans, believers, or supporters. Look around you. Reflect both inward and outward. Would you rather listen to someone who says, "I know," or someone who says, "I know it can't be known"? Confidence is valued more than honesty or humility. Results are valued more than methods. Power is valued more than kindness. Control is valued more than freedom. We would rather have a statue or a photograph of Buddha than sit with nothing. And when something is valued more than nothing, love begins to vanish. When someone starts defending, any explorer appears to be an attacker. The comfort of certainty is cozy but addictive, and eventually it becomes a cage. Doubt is the only gate that keeps the cage open. Any opening allows transformation. But the comfort of certainty and the fear of change paralyze us. The more we conform, the harder we become, less flexible, moving closer to death. Isn't that why silly things have more life? It's more fun to color outside the lines than to stay rigid inside them. Life exists in kindness, in openness, in patience. Like a snail living time to its deepest, sensing every moment fully. Living means carrying death with it, embracing each second completely. Life is here, in this moment, the ink being forced through this page, the instant it is registered in the reader's mind. This movement from me to you is life. It doesn't exist in just me or just you. Silence in thoughts is bliss. It is peace. Peace is not absolute inaction. Peace is being in harmony. It is the peace of efforts being in natural flow around you. Space is endless, yet the mind tries to put its boundaries on space, and this entire quest is recorded in time. Is the mountain not there if it is covered by clouds? For the one in the present, it is not. Yet one who has recorded it in memory will say, "It is there, I know it." Then someone tries to settle the dispute and they all move towards it. All three reach the mountain. The one being in the present will say, "It was not in the past, it is in the present." Is there any dispute about what is present? The dispute is always about what was. It is recorded memory. Time moves. The concept of time exists only to verify the memory of the past. Real time moves with the present. A bird sang. Someone heard it. The song only exists when someone hears it. The awareness of an experience is the experience. There is no space-time. There is only the present. As I am writing, there is a constant to and fro. I want you to read it, but I also understand the limitations of words. The thought castle of ego builds so fast. See, there is already an assumption of a reader, already an assumption of the importance of these words, and through correlation, a projection builds into the future, and that projection starts influencing the words like right now. The flow is this: to go wherever it takes you, to write whatever is being written. We crave control of mind, but the answer lies in being with mind. Clouds play hide and seek with the mountain. Every moment is new, and every moment is beautiful. Trees have come alive between the mountain and the clouds. The birds are singing along with the river. If we remove man-made contraptions, everything is effortless, gentle, loving. Trees are full of cherries. Everything is so beautiful by just being itself. A rose, vulnerable, bright, deep in fragrance. An apple tree, small yet strong, efficient. Crows, dark, hiding, deep-voiced. All of this is the romanticism of the mind, but underneath there is a realization. This is it, both heaven and hell. A story is a thought going on a journey. The play with thoughts plays with emotions. It is an exploration inside oneself, not an exploration of what is truly new, but of what feels new. One searches for ways their own story can unfold, or seeks the comfort of validation by noticing similarities. The entire story is how one's own parts are connected. It is a reflection of the self on a changing screen. This entire book is a story, and it is a reflection of my own relationships with the world. And what you are understanding is your reflection of these words, shaped by your own relationships with the world. Just the existence of someone saying something evokes fear in us. The first reaction is to judge. Is it in my favor or in opposition? When fear goes so deep that one is even afraid of living, what then? This is not a judgment. This is not a measurement of IQ or some spiritual milestone. This is a journey, a conversation we are having. This is not an absolute statement that excludes you. Whatever you are, whatever makes you move, that is what these words are. The water droplets on a rose shine like the sun. Apple trees play a mild visual music. The sun plays with the apple, and the shadow of this play dances with the earth. It is endless, everything dancing in its own way. And then comes the human, defining what is dance and what is not, defining what is music and what is not, giving marks, judging, evaluating constantly. Money is one such parameter. Fame and power are ways to measure one against another. Anything that makes us deviate from our definition of perfection, we call it disease. The mind should work like this, and any deviation will be a mental disease. The physical body should be like this, and any deviation from that will be a physical disease. If one observes carefully, life comes from death. What we are calling disease is actually life happening. Every life form is fighting for its own survival. We are a virus to something else, just like Corona is a virus to us. So play the game of life we must, but with the understanding that whether we kill for our own survival or something kills us for its own survival, there is no right and wrong. It is just life happening. Fear stops mindful movement. It is urgency, so one stops relying on thinking out the scenarios and relies more on reaction, memory of the past. Everything tries to become instinctive. What is suppressed by thinking will come out as reactions. Reactions don't have intelligence. It is just stored data of the past. It is not directional, so it is not selective. The subjective nature of life will be gone. In a roundabout way, fear shows us the truth, just that there is nobody to see it at that time. Fear shows the reality, but one's eyes are closed due to fear only. Hey, how are you doing? Yes, you who is reading, how are you? Let's pause this conversation and observe around us and inside us. Slow down and see every little detail of the room, balcony, or living room. Listen to every sound. You may not be able to hear the micro ones. Let the mind settle. How do you feel in your hands, feet, stomach, and head? Let us just sit with each other in silence, just being in the present. Did you just see these as dots, or did you slowly look at each one, following the other? There is a deep silence behind all of this noise. Let us just observe, both inside and outside. Let us live this moment in its deepest. Do you feel the sun, or the sound of the bird, or the sound of night insects? Do you feel your heartbeat, feeling the immense pressure on it and realizing the fickle nature of life? Lie down and relax. There is air all around you like a blanket. Remove those walls around you and the entire space is yours. There is an energy dancing inside you. Let us just observe. What is it you are holding? Let us share. We can start with simpler things slowly, one step after another. Let us fill this silence with beauty, the beauty of a heart opening up, the light from inside let loose. There is something about these moments. The heart is touched, fear is overcome, and the warmth of love is felt. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. Patience. Let us see how it unfolds. What is, that is the real treasure. Just be, breathe. In a silent valley of consciousness, there lies tension, a friction, an excess of energy, a vain attempt to stop the flow of a river, to transform the infinite into finite. Only the insides can be known. It can only know itself, yet it is distracted by its own creations, lost in the games it has created, living in knots. Knots lie in polarities, something stretched from both directions. Love is when one lets go. Why is acceptance difficult? Because it means accepting both love and hate. Why is letting go difficult? Because it means letting go of both fears and desires. Why is silence difficult? Because it means saying no to both sweetness and bitterness, both music and noise. Why is contentment difficult? Because it means letting go of both dreams and nightmares. It can't happen just one way. Letting go of the past means letting go of everything. It is absolute. One story gets born, and a story will always have constraints, as constraints define something different, something new. You are a hero in your own story. You don't need to prove it, even when the world is constantly doubting. This is not to build up arrogance, but to move forward with humbleness. Yes, we can move forward with truth. Yes, we can move forward with kindness. I know the measuring mind will argue that most people are not like that you won't be successful like that, but you must have noticed that success is not enough, money is not enough, power is not enough. When the end comes, what will truly matter? The expression of contentment on your face, the number of hearts that will carry your love, your way of being. And this remembrance is not the forced remembrance of dictators, whose names are carried due to fear and not due to love. Your world is all in your head. You have accepted the role in your story. Either exercise the willpower to change the role or accept it completely. It will be hard. The way of love is hard. But in the end, with the scars on you when death comes, the real death of this form, there will be peace in your heart. We must keep moving forward even with fear, hate, anger, even with ignorance. Change starts with one. Let us start with the common parts and slowly move to the center. If not now, tomorrow. Maybe not even then. It is the action that counts. Love.